Hello, and welcome to this edition of State of the Fleet Industry Spotlight Series. I'm Chris Brown, Associate Publisher of Automotive Fleet. In celebration of Black History Month, I connect with Bill Pugh, entrepreneur, company owner, and software as a service expert. Bill shares his journey and his role models, and how he balances the corporate tech and business worlds while staying true to his authentic self.
The Voyager Fleet program offers advanced controls, real-time alerts, and flexible purchase settings that help prevent fraud and employee misuse. Take control of your operations and keep every dollar working for your fleet.
Okay, well, Bill, welcome to this edition of State of the Fleet Industry.
Awesome to be here, Chris. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, sure. Hey, let's just dive right in. I love to hear origin stories. Tell me yours.
Okay. Well, I mean, I've been in the tech space for an awful long time, but grew up in Southern California, did a whole lot of different things in and around there. Because of the location, I found that I did not have much regard for authority. So consequently, that made things tough for me. Wound up going to the military, got out of the military, stationed in Moffett Field in the Bay Area, and found myself at the front of the tech boom and decided to jump into that and discovered that, what society had set up in terms of step by step, and here's how you grow, and here's what you do, and here's how you become successful. I found that wasn't for me. So I bounced around job to job for probably about 5 to 6 years, landed in a startup, and discovered that, hey, wait a minute, maybe this is it. After a few disappointing runs in the startup space, none of them ever really yielding any real money, I decided to be targeted, and that put me in the smart grid space with another startup. That one did go public. I decided to bounce from that, jumped over to another startup. At both of those startups, I was employee 30, and so that put me in very early. The one thing that I noticed was you have to be prescriptive to yourself and hold yourself accountable. At each one of the startups, there was specific goals that I had, and that was: one, take a company public; two, take a company to acquisition; and three, secure as many patents as I could along the way. And subsequent to that, I found that corporate world was not for me. Started my own company, Smart Connections Consulting, and understood the challenges between the cities and the utilities, and found a niche space for myself. And fast forward about 15 years, and here I am with True North Software Solutions, and I still have Smart Connections, but it's given me what I would call the American dream.
Wow, that's great, Bill. You grew up in South Central, right?
Yep.
Right here in LA. Yeah. So for those moments when people didn't expect you to be the expert in the room, you know what I'm saying, right? I mean,
Yep.
like you're a guy from South Central that came up and made it, and but how do you navigate those situations?
You know what? I found that, again, society says that this is how you're supposed to do things. You're supposed to walk in, you're supposed to dress appropriately, you're supposed to do these things. Those things make me extremely uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I'm not comfortable wearing a suit. I'm not comfortable in khakis and a button down. I am t-shirts, a ball cap, a hoodie, and that's who I am. So what I found is that when I speak and get challenged, I have the answers. And if I don't have the answers, I'm upfront about it. But it's being authentic, it's being true to me, is what made me more comfortable. And the more comfortable I got, the more vocal I got. And as I became more vocal and started articulating what it is that I know, which I am a student of technology. So you don't become an expert, you really continue to learn. That's really what it was. I would just let them know, this is who you're dealing with. and let the work speak for itself.
Yeah, no, that's a really great point. I mean, and to just kind of follow on that, I mean, you got to balance your authentic self with expectations of the corporate world, right? The corporate world, the tech world, the business world. I mean, people talk about like code switching, right? In business settings, when all of a sudden you button that top button type thing. But I mean, is it a challenge to kind of manage that and kind of stay true to yourself?
No, for me it wasn't. I think it's getting out of your own headspace. You're worried about what other people are thinking, when in actuality, a demonstration speaks volume. When I do speak, I don't worry about towing the line. I don't worry about I have to agree with this person. If I don't believe it and the science isn't there to prove it, no. But it's a combination. So yes, I'm very technical, but I made sure that the business acumen was in place as well. So when they're talking about what's your return on investment based on this type of a solution, I have that answer. And my own perspective is what I deliver.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough. Hey, let's talk about your biggest challenge in your career. What is your biggest challenge? How did you overcome it?
The biggest challenge was actually having the confidence in myself that I really knew what the heck I was doing. It was you're given a job description. You go in, 9 times out of 10, that job description doesn't match what you're doing in your day-to-day job. And you have a manager that 9 times out of 10 doesn't speak to you about what's really going on and hears things secondhand. So I had trouble with, how are you going to give me a review when you don't even know what it is that I truly do? So that for me was the biggest challenge. How do I shift from that? And it was, quite honestly, it was my wife. My wife said, "Look, you've been in the corporate space. They make promises, they never deliver, but you do. I believe that you can do it on your own." And that was really all I needed.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. I mean, so you talk about tech and software as a service, and they aren't traditionally diverse fields. What was it like breaking into the space? I mean, are we seeing progress today? What do you think?
I really think it's all in reducing the friction. So many people are averse to anything that says SaaS. So I mean, there's underlying elements of what that SaaS is. So what service is it that you're actually delivering? And you need to make sure that you're prescriptive in what that is. Whether it's a licensed and then a managed service that's associated with it, that's still SaaS as long as it's software. We've been fairly successful at it, and mind you, that neither one of the companies has received VC funding. So we are self-funded, bootstrapped, and shared risk, shared reward.
Oh wow, that's great. Hey, let me just ask you one last question. Let's talk about mentors and role models. I mean, do you have any advice for young Black professionals and people of color in building a career in SaaS and I guess in tech in general?
Absolutely. I mean, the biggest thing is, no matter what it is that you're doing, whether you're still working for a corporate company or you're doing any of these other things, if you're doing it on your own, the biggest thing is set your own goals and hold yourself truly accountable. Because in your mind, you can say, well, I did what I was asked to do, but did you? Did you really? Did you do it to the best of your ability? Did you seek help when you needed help, as opposed to just trying to go it on your own? The other thing is, if you really want to be an entrepreneur, make sure that you define yourself, define your solution, and define your outcomes.
Mhm.
And then again, hold yourself accountable. But definitely seek out people. I mean, I've had several mentors. One, in particular, asked me what it is that I wanted. And I told him flat out, I said, I want to be rich like you. He said, no, you don't. He said, no, you don't. I said, what do you mean? You just asked me and I told you. He said, no, you want a different relationship with money.
Okay.
And the light bulb went on.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah. And I remember you said in our other conversation, your wife was maybe not a mentor, but really one of your strongest, backers in life, right?
Oh, yes. The equity that you have in a relationship is far more valuable than the money.
Yeah. Yeah, no, fair enough. I love that. Okay. Hey, Bill, thank you for joining me on this State of the Fleet Industry video series episode.
Thanks for having me. I truly appreciate it.
Great.